Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Manya and I am an expert at WW. I have lost over 30 pounds on WW and I've maintained over a 20-pound weight loss for going on 4 years. Now, I took a break from WW for a couple of years because they eliminated my favorite purple plan in favor of what was the current plan until a couple of days ago. Well, they've brought a lot of elements of the purple plan back, so I'm back as well, and I want to help you be successful on WW. So today we're going to do a very deep dive into the app. This is a long one, folks. This is for those of you who want to follow along as I work through the app and I show you all of the features, including the newest features that WW has on offer with their brand new 2025 plan. So if that interests you, stick around. We're going to get into it right now. When you first open up your app, this is what it looks like. And we're going to do a deep dive today. So settle in, open up your app, and we're going to start at the very top and work our way down to the very bottom so that by the time this video is over, you will understand the entire WW app so you can make it work for you and your journey. So starting running along the top, on the left-hand side, it's very small, but that's a picture of me, and that's how you get into your settings. So I'll click on that now, and you can see from here, I can change my profile. Click on View Profile. I talk about my why, my dietary preference. I don't have anything there. All the people I am following on Connect, and we'll talk about Connect later. And then from here, you can also, on the upper right, click on your app setting. So the important ones, I'm not going to go through every single one of these, but the ones I want to highlight are connected devices. This is where you can connect things such as Apple Health if you have an iPhone, if you have a Smart Scale or a Fitbit or a Google phone, you can connect here, and this is how you import activities. I only have my weight connected. I don't have my activities connected, and I'll talk about that and why a little bit later when we get to the activities area. But from here, you can connect activities, your sleep, and your weight so that when you weigh yourself, if you input your weight somehow into Apple Health or Google Fit, it'll automatically populate into the WW app. Going back to your settings, this is also where you can set your food settings. So this would be your daily points budget, whether you're losing weight or maintaining weight, which I promise you at some point you will flip this over to maintain weight. It'll give you your points budget. I get 23 points a day, and weekly points budget, I get 21. You're typically, and I'm not exactly sure on the new plan, but typically the daily points budget is allocated based on a number of factors such as your height, your weight, your gender, and your age. So you may have more points than me and potentially fewer than me. I tend to, at this point in my journey, have the bottom number of points that you can have per day, but let me know in the comments below if you have less than 23. This is where you can choose whether you want to roll over. So what this means is if you have points left over from a particular day, up to 4, they will roll over into your weeklies. I like to let them roll over because about once a week, I'll have an indulgent meal or I'll go out with friends and have a couple of drinks, and I will use my weekly points for that. I'm a big believer in using your weekly points. That's more of a psychological thing. I can do a future video if you'd like. Just let me know in the comments below around strategies for how to adhere long-term to a weight loss journey. It's very hard to be strict 100% of the time for the rest of your life. So I allow for those rollovers, and you can choose to do so or not. And then the day you want points reset, and you can change that. I love Wednesdays. It gets me far enough away from the weekend to recover from any of those indulgent activities that I did using my extra points, but it's far enough from the upcoming weekend that I don't need to worry too much. Wednesday is the day for me. A lot of people like Friday as they head into the weekend, or Monday to keep themselves focused over the weekend. Back under program settings, this is also where you can set your activity goals, whether you want them to be based on minutes or on steps. I don't track activity in the app, as I mentioned before. And then your weight setting, your starting weight and your goal weight. And you can explore the rest of this settings, but those are the most important ones in my opinion. Okay, going back to the main part of the app, still on the top, in the middle, you can change the date. So if you need to go back to a previous date, or if you want to track ahead for a big meal out that you know you're going to have later in the week, you can go ahead and do that ahead of time, or go backwards if you forgot something. And then on the upper right is where you can chat with other members. I've never done this before. I don't connect in this way. So if you have, let me know in the comments below if you think this is a worthwhile feature. Okay, moving one down, you see we have the next lineup is food, weight, and activity. We are currently on the food tab. So what you can see, I've already logged my breakfast for today and I used 1 point. That leaves me with 22 points for the day. There's a circle around the 22 points left and a little purple bar that's moving around. As I get closer to using all my points, that circle will fill up with the purple color. And then on the left are my weeklies. As you know, I reset on Wednesday. For me, today is Thursday, so I still have all of my weekly points. I'm on a 2-day streak. That's because I'm brand new back to WW and I just started yesterday. Below that, you can see a search bar. That's where you can search for particular foods that you want to track. And since I'm on breakfast, it will automatically populate yesterday's breakfast. It looks very, very long. I had a lot of different ingredients in my breakfast, but only for a total of 2 points. So if you're the kind of person who repeats the same meal day after day, you can just click that plus and it will automatically populate that in as your breakfast. The feature I use more often is recently tracked. So if I'm repeating any ingredients from the last couple of days, most likely they're going to be listed here with the quantity listed. So this Vital Proteins was 10 grams. I can just easily click the little plus box and it will populate into my breakfast. Back up at the top, in addition to being able to search directly for foods, you have 2 other options. One is a barcode search. You're seeing black because my phone is on the table, but if I were to pull it up, you can see it gives you a box to take a picture of the barcode. And also you could take a picture. So you can take a picture of an item. Here's my nail polish. Or you can pull your photos up if you took a picture of something while you were out and about and want to track it. From there, it's pretty straightforward. You have breakfast, and you can see my breakfast is already tracked, lunch, dinner, and snacks, and then water. I've already had 2 cups of water today. And then the newest feature in WW is, of course, the macros tracking. I've only tracked my breakfast so far, so you can see my breakfast was 17 grams of protein, 64 carbs, 5 grams of fat, 7 grams of fiber, and 115 milligrams of sodium. If you're curious and want to do more of a deep dive, you can click into each one of these. So I'll click into protein and it will show you the breakdown of how I got to 17 grams. Most of it is from that Vital Proteins collagen peptides, but everything has protein in it. Almost everything. So you can see even my 0 point oatmeal had 5 grams of protein and my 1/4 cup of soy milk had 2. If you're just getting started with protein, you can click on protein guidance and read all about it. It gives you some information about protein. Not much. You can probably find a lot more on the internet. And if you're interested in figuring out how you can run your macros specific to you and your height, weight, gender, age, and goals, I have a video with a quick macros tip that I just published in the last couple of days, so you can find that. Okay, going back up to the top, we can go over to weight. You can see my current weight, my trends over time, my charms, which I wish I could just get rid of that. That means very little to me, and it just sort of clutters up the screen. And then my weight stats. So my last 30 days, my last 60 days, and since I started back in 2020. I, as I mentioned, weigh in every single day, and so it automatically populates from the app that I use. I use an app called Happy Scale, which gives me an average of my weight gains or losses rather than just looking at the pure weight every day. It gives me an average over time. Happy Scale feeds into Apple Health, which feeds into WW, and so that's how it automatically ends up here. And it will go back in time since the beginning. Weight loss will fluctuate, and it happens over time. If you're interested in a video where I show you my weight loss over time so you can see that it's not a straight through line down all the time, let me know in the comments below. You can't let a little weight fluctuation throw you off your game. Okay. Back over to the top, and I will click on activity. And this is where you see 0. Now, I didn't do 0. I haven't done 0 today. I didn't do 0 yesterday, but I do not populate it into WW because I do not believe that you should count your activity as food that you eat. There's a lot of studies out there that show that exercise, no matter what your smart device is telling you, you're not actually burning that many calories, and that to then eat those calories will slow down or inhibit your weight loss. So WW used to allow you to just say, don't count my activity points. They do not allow that anymore. There's no way to turn it off. So I have just disconnected my activity from WW, so it always looks like I do nothing, even though I exercise a lot. If you're interested and you're new to exercising, they have some videos that you can follow for strength training, and that's about it on the activity tab. Okay, dropping down all the way to the bottom of the screen, you see this whole time we've been on my day, which is bottom left. Let's go over to progress. This is sort of where you can see everything all together. If you are the type of person who is motivated by streaks and consistency, so you can see I have tracked my food for 2 of 7 days. That's because I just started yesterday, and Wednesday is my reset day. So because today is Thursday, this makes sense, 2 of 7 days. My weigh-in, it says I have weighed in 2 out of 1 time. Weight Watchers only asks you to weigh in weekly. So by the end of the week, this will say 7 out of 1 time. And then, of course, activity is nothing for me for the reasons I just shared with you. The days I stayed in my points budget were yesterday, and today I'm on track to stay in budget. It'll show out of budget, or it'll show if you didn't track, and then it shows you how many points and weeklies you have left for the week. Trends, I think, are very interesting. You want to be consistent over time. This is not about perfection every day. It's consistency over time. So back in, see if I can, oh, my apologies, that just took me back to weight. Ignore that. So here's my trend. I started at 163.2 pounds in May of 2020. I'm now at 141.5. You can see that dip. I got down to 125. If you've been here a long time, you know why. I'm not going to go into it now, but you can see my trends over time. This week, days in my point budget, Last week, 0, because I actually wasn't doing WW last week. And then activities, yours will look different if you choose to track activities. Back down to the bottom, I'll click on what to eat. This is, I think, a helpful screen, especially if you're the type of person who eats out a lot and you live in the United States. This has a lot of restaurants. So let me demonstrate one. This weekend, I live in Japan. This weekend, my husband and I are going to go to a U.S. Air Force base, and we will likely eat at Chili's. So I search for Chili's and then click on it, and it has basically their entire menu laid out in points. I don't want to look at the entire menu. I happen to know that Chili's has a portion of the menu called Guiltless Grill. So I'm going to search Guiltless Grill, and it will show me just the items that are on the Guiltless Grill menu. This is incredibly helpful, I think, because it's a WW and weight loss is a mindset. So if you can wrap your brain around, I'm going to Chili's and I'm only going to order off of the Guiltless Grill menu, you will be a lot more successful. Plan ahead and decide what you're going to eat. So I think that I am likely to eat this grilled chicken salad. So if I click on it, I can track it. I could even track it ahead. We're going to be there on Saturday. I will most likely eat it for dinner, and I can track it and then put it on Saturday. So that's a way that you can really utilize the restaurant tracking in a way that's quite easy. You can also do it by cuisine, as you can see here, and then they have tips for eating out. If you go back to the At Home tab, this is where you can find your 0-point food list. And inside the 0-point food list, this very pretty graphic, if you click on, let's say I'll click on fish and shellfish. It's going to give you the list of all the fish and shellfish that are 0 points. And if you click on the one you're going to eat, let's say I'm going to eat eel, because they eat a lot of eel in Japan, I can then track it directly from the 0-point list rather than looking at a list and then going and searching. So that's pretty nice. There's also recipes here. And what's really nice about the recipe is if you click on it, so this is a sheet pan chicken and potato dish, you can add all the ingredients to the grocery list if you need it, and you can also track it directly from the recipe. One of the things you can do in the new app is you can import a recipe from a website and it will calculate the number of points for you. So let me show you how to do that. It's back in the My Day tab at the bottom, and you want to click on Search and Track in the search box, and then the upper left hand corner you click on that plus and you can add a recipe from the web. I'm going to do this with a bread recipe that I have saved that I think I'm going to make. It's a cranberry nut bread, and I imported it, and here it is. So based on the recipe online, 1 serving would be 9 points. It doesn't really import the entire recipe in a usable way. So the prep time, the cook time, it shows you all the ingredients, and it doesn't really show you how to make it, but it does import the points. And you can save it and then track it if you'd like. So that's a very, very cool new feature. Prior to this, you had to manually add each ingredient and create a recipe. So back on the what to eat, like I said, recipes, 0-point food, grocery list, and then they have articles on here that help with guidance on how to use WW. If you are new to WW and you've previously counted calories or some other method, I really recommend that you spend some time in this portion of the app, because it's very hard to be successful on WW if you don't use the program and run the program properly. If you try to act like you have on other diets, you may not be as successful. So I highly recommend that you follow things like the 0 Point Food List, eating fiber to feel fuller, eating protein to feel fuller, all of the things that they recommend, they know what they're talking about. Okay, and finally, bottom right is Connect. Connect is WW's version of social media. This is where you can follow people that you find helpful or that give good tips. You can join groups, which is often helpful, so maintenance groups or particular types of food groups. You can follow based on your age, that sort of thing, and then of course trending. So right now they're rolling out how to use the new app themselves, so this is a good place to start. The last thing I'll show you is out of the app, and I have created a widget on my iPhone for the app, but one thing that I think is very cool is not only can you just click on the widget and it will open up the app like normal, but back here I can go right into logging lunch by clicking on lunch, which is a very quick way to get into a particular part of the app. Okay folks, that was it. If you're still here, kudos to you. That was a long one, but I hope you found it helpful. Let me know if I missed anything or if you need help with other parts of the new plan. I am planning a 0 Point food video to talk about how to eat 0 Point foods and how especially not to be afraid of them, because I promise you, you can lose weight eating an abundance of 0 Point foods. So I want to talk to you about how to do that and why it works. If there's anything else you'd like me to cover that I can be helpful with you and your journey, please let me know in the comments below. If you're new here, welcome. WW is awesome, especially now that they're back on track, no pun intended. I will see you in the next video. Bye.